Are you ready to have your world turned upside down? Because I might be about to completely shatter some pretty well embedded thoughts about food. So today's top trick was actually born out of my hatred of food waste, as I would do this whenever I was going away so nothing got wasted. And yes, I am going to be reusing the plastic bags I got my greens in at the farmer's market, because everything going into them is cold and dry. They will be in an oxygen poor, very cold environment under conditions and for a length of time I control, which in science terms means there is no concern over plastic leaching into my food. What is so revolutionary about chopping up and freezing things, I hear you say? Well, let's start with the idea of how this makes your life day to day easier, because cooking raw vegetables from frozen is much faster, because freezing breaks down the cell walls, which is what cooking does, but with heat. So immediately we've got food that's going to cook in half the time with no prep time, because you've already chopped everything up, and bonus point, we're going to season everything directly into the bags. So then when you come to use them, you just walk in the door, pull out a bag, pour it onto a roasting tray or into a pan, and in 10 to 15 minutes, you'll have a fully cooked from scratch meal. This is why people often don't like frozen veg, because they'll cook it for the same as they would do fresh for the same time. It just doesn't need it. Because these things are also going to effectively steam themselves, you don't actually need to add oil or fat to cook. You can then just add those in as you serve, which is a much better way to use your fat-rich foods because they'll remain unoxidized because they haven't been heated. And if you were not convinced at this stage, freezing your fresh veg when you buy them will mean they retain more nutrients than if they sit in the fridge for several days before you use them. For example, this broccoli would lose up to 50% of its vitamin C content within a week in the fridge. Now let's not be silly. Of course, still eating that broccoli is going to provide huge amounts of benefit because minerals and fibre and everything, they're all going to be in their exact quantities. But what I'm saying is that laying out your weekly shop when you get it, putting on some music and chopping for 10 minutes could mean that you halve the time your meals take to cook, increase your dietary diversity, decrease your food waste, and double the potential nutrient density of your food. That to me sounds like a winner. Anyway, so a couple of key points. You can either choose to do single ingredient bags, just like broccoli and here with seasoning, or mix them together. You can either then do mixes where you put similar textured vegetables like broccoli, onions, and peppers in one, and root vegetables like beetroot, carrot, potatoes in another, and then you would add them separately. Or you can do meal bags where you mix everything together, but the tougher root veg would be in smaller pieces so they cook in the same time as the softer veg. You can do exactly the same thing with protein, chop up pieces of chicken, tofu, fish, season and freeze. And for things like greens and herbs, the nutrient retention is actually even more important because these degrade faster. So shred them and then just add them in right at the last minute and they will wilt in due to the latent heat of the food that you already have. More tips and tricks in the caption. Let me know if you're going to try this.